someone like sitting underneath, like pushing a button for you. I'm
Hey,
not touching anything.
I haven't seen you in a million years. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Well, we're going to get started here. I can't tell you. I'm so excited. I'm about to just roll right off this planet. I'm so excited. So,
that's
how I am.
Excited. You must be a writer or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm half writer and half nutty. So I just want to get started here and just thank you all for being here. And I wish we could do this in person. I have my own little personal amazing party over here. You're going to hear them sometimes and sometimes you're not. But I wish we could all be together. Maybe after the COVID thing, we'll all take our trooper selves and have us a big celebration somewhere.
Would you have brought the alligator or whatever's behind you with you if we met in person? Because then I think I had something planned that night.
Oh, I'm going to introduce him in a minute. He's very impatient too. So
he looks ready to be on.
He is, and he's hungry too. So y'all behave yourselves.
You didn't feed him.
Well, have him on a leash. Okay, I wanted to introduce you to the brains of the outfit. But he will not stand up. Come here, Jazz. This is Jazz. This is my co-host. He has his little triumph scarf on, and he's not wanting to stand up. But this is my look. Come over here, buddy. Can anybody see him?
I can see his very attractive
his nose.
Yeah, I can see him.
Okay. Hi, John. Oh, there's John. Hi, Jeannie. I see everybody. I'm having so much fun here. Okay, well, that's my co-host. He's going to be jumping down in a minute because he just has attention span of a 3-year-old. So here we go. If you have any questions, just ask me. We'll go through some at the end, and I may answer some as we go along, but we'll see. If you have any biggies, just write them down, and we'll look at them at the end. So, no man's island, and I think that's true. Whoops, I hear talking. I think it's Kit Stewart.
It is. I'm sorry, Jody. How are you?
I'm fine.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
It's perfectly fine. We're having a reunion. I wanted to give a big shout out to my virtual co-hosts, 4 other amazing authors, and they're standing by, and sometimes you'll see them and sometimes you won't, but they're donating one spectacular ebook to go with something very special we'll talk about during the intermission. Okay, don't make me laugh now, Jennifer. Jennifer makes me laugh. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you in a minute. Our authors are Sarah H. Baker, Chris Bach, Dorinda Jones, and Gabby Stevens. And they were so kind as to join in with me to launch every time I say this, I'm going to do this because my book, Triumph, a novel of the human spirit.
You wrote a book?
Huh? I wrote a book? Isn't that incredible? I wrote 6 of them. You're just now admiring me.
So great.
Thank you. So with that in mind, and did you get their names? Wait a minute, folks. I introduced my authors. I told you I've got a great group here. They're excited.
I thought that was a sound effect. That was amazing.
No, I swear they're real. I'll make them come in front of the camera.
Please
so
do.
I also want to introduce to you someone who's already keeping me in stitches, a woman who's well known and loved in the audiobook world, and she's skillfully narrated over 25 books in every genre. She can do teenager, she can do 55 plus. None of us would need that, but from anything from teenagers to that, she does all brands of audiobook narration. And without another word, Jennifer Blom.
Wow, I couldn't hear the clapping. I guess they...
Oh, and there went my co-host. I told they are so fickle, these co-hosts. I just don't get it. But anyway, by now you have noticed my friend Freddie, and he stopped by because, well, he gave me a call actually, and he said, I heard that you have a whole chapter or 3 about a swamp in your newest book.
Triumph.
I'm supposed to plug your book, so I'm going to do it my own way. So, and he asked, could he join us tonight? I told him if he didn't bite my ear off, he could come. So this is Freddie. He's setting the stage for our chapters that Jennifer will start reading, not yet, in just a few minutes. She's like, no.
I forgot the popcorn in the kitchen, so I guess I'll just sit back and relax.
Oh, please do. Please, everybody relax. And is that bubbly flowing yet or not?
Almost.
Almost? Okay, well, be sure that everybody knows that I need a bubble or two here. So anyway, I think we'll just get started now that I'm kind of relaxed here. So some of you know I've written 5 other novels, and some of you think, you know, is this Daisy Duck or is this Jodi Picoult? We just don't know. So notice how I dropped those names. Isn't that marketing genius? Thank you, Jennifer. So anyway, well, I'm just Jodi Lee Stewart, and I'm going to say what it was like writing a book, because I get this question all the time. What was it like writing a book like Triumph? This was the most challenging book I've ever written. And so I'll tell you what it was like. If you picture a scientist with big black glasses and a white lab coat, and he's in his lab, and the steam is everywhere, and the beakers are bubbling away on the Bunsen burners, and then you put my head on it, that's what it was like. That mad scientist juggling. Why did I have to juggle? Because I had 4 strong storylines. I had a time span of 1903 to 1968, and I had all kinds of characters that were from age 5, all the way into their 40s. So it got to be a feeling of mixing and matching and spilling my concoctions all over the swamps of Louisiana, Texas, St. Louis, and New Orleans. So what was it like? It was like being a mad scientist. It was like being a juggler. And another thing that happened during this novel that was really interesting to me was all along the journey of writing it, I had to stop and evaluate myself. Because if you're going to write about prejudice and bigotry, you need to stop often and make sure, where do I stand on this? Who am I? What is my life telling me here? So that was something that I found to be great for myself. It was a journey for me. So that's what writing it was like. And I'll have to say it was beautifully exhausting. I never had more fun writing in my entire life. So we're going to start now. Freddie, are you ready? Yeah, he is. We're going to start with a reading, and I'm going to set the scene. This is the first chapter, and the year is 1903. And it begins in an area outside of Ruddock, which is 30 miles from New Orleans, in 1903. Now, this area is almost all wetlands and forest, and the town of Ruddock has to be on structures. It's a sawmill town, and the homes, the little shanties, the homes. What is that? Oh, that's fun. I don't know what it was. Something. Well, whoa. We're getting swamp sounds. Thank you, Cindy.
I feel like I'm there.
Okay, can y'all still hear me, or is that too loud?
You're okay. Keep going.
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so Simon and Flo, 2 of my big characters here, turn it down just a little bit, hun, are riding around in a buckboard outside of Ruddock, and they have a wagon full of 6 children in the back. They've had a great day, and lots of singing and picnicking, and the kids are singing, and now it's getting dusk, and the mosquitoes are ramping up their hungry search for blood, and they see a woman, and it looks like she's in distress. And now, Jennifer, if you'll take it away.
1903, Chapter 1, Stolen, page 4. There she is, Mama, by the black water, Zeke shouts. He and Flo jump from the wagon to the ground. Zeke takes the proffered lantern from Simon, while Flo directs a silent finger at the small horde of squirming youngsters, warning them to stay put. As soon as her back is turned, they scale the wooden sides to the ground, delirious mice abandoning a ship long at sea. Simon's gentle reprimands never made it past the tow-board at his feet. He patiently climbs from the wagon and trudges toward the stranger standing in the lush St. Augustine grass, spreading like carpet from the banks of the water. An ancient crepe myrtle, burdened with fuchsia blossoms, frames the unmoving figure standing before them. Zeke's high-held lantern casts a ghostly light over a brown-skinned woman of great beauty. She is swaddled in a pale lilac shawl from her neck to below her knees. Her arms hold a rolled blanket, about equal in size to a small log. Her hair is arranged high on her head and fastened in place with pins of creamy ivory. A surge of sickness invades Simon's belly as buried reminiscences dance on the edge of his mind. The woman mumbles incoherently in soothing tones to the blanket, sporadically covering it in tender kisses. Flo frowns at Simon, then looks back at the stranger. "Honey girl, you be all right?" she asks softly. Chapter 1, Stolen, page 6. Trapped by the gossamer web spun by the woman's beauty and peculiarities, the captive audience stares as she stops moving. For a few frozen moments, she deliberately gazes at each one. She tilts her face upward and shrieks, a strange animal sound.
Well, I get spooked out every time I hear that, and I wrote it. So, okay, well, you know trouble's in the air, don't you? So at the same time in 1903 that this is going on, there's a ex-Texas Ranger, and he is making his annual visit to New Orleans. And he meets with his friends, and they have cigars and brandy and discuss the days when men were men, as they would be. But his first night there, when he returns, he realizes that the hotel door is slightly open. So he pulls out his Derringer, heads inside. And what happens inside in the next few hours is going to change his life and that of several other people, including a couple in Texas who are grieving over their 2 lost children who died of the fever. Go ahead, Jennifer.
1903, Chapter 10, The Intruder, page 43. Coming in quite late his first night in New Orleans from a full supper, brandy, and talk of the old days, Jack had been surprised to find his door unlocked. He retrieved the small Derringer from the top of his boot and cautiously entered. But the woman inside was making no pretense of hiding. Not at all. She sat across the room in one of the over 2 overstuffed upholstered chairs provided in all the lush rooms of St. Charles Hotel. The bathroom light was on, its door ajar, and there she was, wearing a large shawl over her hair, shoulders, and part of her face. In her arms, a slumbering baby in a blanket. Next to her, an unsmiling lad of, Jack guessed, maybe 4 years old, a big-eyed, somber boy who stared a hole in him.
Wow. So the course of many lives, as I said, will change that night. And as I said, I juggled a lot of timelines in this novel. So we're now going to jump ahead to 1958, St. Louis. Let me ask my tech person. Can I get that square off of there?
Yeah, you can just exit.
Just exit? Okay. It really helps to have a teenager here. Okay. Hey, Kim. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened in May 17, 1954. The Supreme Court issued its landmark Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka ruling, declaring that racially segregated public schools are now inherently unequal. Well, now, 3-4 years later, it's amazing, but St. Louis was kind of on the front edge of change and progress. So it wasn't perfect, but some of the schools were allowing desegregation. They were allowing all races to sit together in the classroom, in the school buses, etc. So it just so happens that 2 young girls, Annie and Mercy, who are 10 years old, starting 5th grade, do get to be in the same classroom. And this is St. Louis, 1958. And I'll tell you a little bit about Annie. Annie is from what they would call in the old days, and maybe now, but I don't know, a broken home. That merely meant that she had a divorced family. Her mom was single, had 4 children, working 2 jobs, working herself to death. She lived in a rundown old apartment and wore last year's clothes. So she meets this little girl named Mercy. Now, Mercy is sophisticated beyond her years, but she is also 10. And she is from the upper crust part of the black part of St. Louis called the Ville. That still exists today. A lot of very famous black people grew up there, as a matter of fact. But it was very she in those days. And she was from a very well-to-do family. So they meet on the playground. They're in the same classroom, but now they meet out there, and Annie is shocked to hear this little girl begin to correct her little backwoods grammar. And Mercy is shocked that this girl is so blonde, she looks to have no eyebrows or eyelashes. So go ahead, Jennifer, if you would.
1958, Chapter 2, Invisible Eyebrows, page 9. I stare at one big crack with weeds growing out of it. My eyes kind of move up, and there she is, a girl I first seen when we settled down in our new classroom this morning. The girl's green eyelet dress with a white underlining is flat out aside to see against her pretty skin. I start getting ashamed, since I know my own dress looks pitiful. The tiny patch of the hem feels like it's taken over the whole skirt part, since I feel so shy about it. For some reason, we get fixed in each other's stare. She's looking me over, and me, I'm doing the same. I suppose we're walking closer and closer, 'cause all of a sudden, we ain't far apart. I guess I'd never seen a prettier little girl in all my life. She says, I haven't seen anyone without eyebrows before. What happened to yours?
What an introduction Mercy did. Well, these girls have a journey you don't want to miss. Here's my plug in Triumph. They have a journey that will take them up to 19 years old in this novel. And even though they have a journey, there's even a larger journey fueled by a crisis that Annie's mother, Zini, is going to take. She was so busy, so tired. She knew her little girl had a new friend, but she never stopped to think that this new friend might be of a different race. Why did it matter? Well, it did. So the journey that she begins to take is called a face-to-face with herself. Events happen, some things very shocking happen, and then she has to decide for herself why does she feel like she does? And so this is a scene when she is coming to the apex of that. Go ahead, Jennifer.
1959, Chapter 31, Snakeskin, page 146. Zini blows her nose into the tortured, twisted tissue in her hand. Without looking at her, Dew hands her a fresh one. She says, I mean, why did I think what I did before? What is the reasoning behind our behavior in this world? Did Mama and Daddy think like that? Did they ever say they did? Seems like it's been a feeling born in me and everyone, and for what? To be hateful? To be high and mighty? Why aren't we judging people by their actions? And that's all. Is this poison in our blood? She tilts her head sideways in her hand and watches the streams of rain run down the side window. I'm miserable, Dew. Just miserable.
Yeah, it's kind of miserable whenever we have to face ourselves and we don't know why that we have the pockets of prejudice that we do. So that's what's happening there. Now, because I have learned recently that, hi, Amanda, I have learned recently that we have an attention span of 3 to 5 seconds. I'm trying to keep this short and fun, and it's hard to keep ready controlled. But we're going to have what I guess is a little intermission here. So
No,
I'm going to talk about,
okay.
Pardon?
I was going to say no dance break, intermission.
I thought you did pretty, yeah, if you want to have a little dance, we can. My husband brought me bubbly. I'm going to do it.
Chug, chug. Oh, different party, sorry.
So what I want to talk about right now is the prize, is first prize, because then I get to talk about my wonderful authors too, that I'm so excited to be partnering with. The first one is my novel, autographed, and a personal note, and something special that I have made up. I'm going to try to get this right, because when I tried to show this to Jennifer yesterday, I kept being stupid. But this is a black-crowned night heron. And I had this made up, and it's going to go with the first prize with the autographed novel and the personal note from me. And why do I have this? I have this because night herons are swamp birds. They have a very eerie sound. They have a very spooky sound. So if you've ever walked, I wonder, have you ever walked through a swamp at night with just the moon and just the sounds of all the little bugs and everything? Well, you're going to hear one of these birds. And that bird made it into 2 parts into my novel. So he's a special guy. I almost want to keep that. It's so neat. But that's one of the giveaways. So the second one, woohoo, let's go to the second one. And I know when I show these book covers, they're going to be backward, but I am no tech genius. I do not know how to fix that. So I know you can read backwards, so just ignore that part. The second giveaway involves our virtual co-hosts, our authors, and what it is we're going to load, well, whenever the person wins this, Fire HD 864 GBs, I hope that's right. We're going to, 4 other authors wanted to donate a copy of one of their most awesome novels to go on there, and I'm going to put Triumph on there too. So now Jennifer's going to tell us a little bit about the ebooks that are going to get loaded on there and what these authors are all about. They're incredible authors. I mean, we got everything from karate to languages and 60 novels a piece. I don't know, but they're amazing. So take it away, Jennifer.
Thankfully, I'm not reading like all of those excerpts because I'm not sure I could be like a kung fu, like swamp living, breathing dragon monkey. I don't know what's like. I haven't read all the books, so I'm not sure all the things I would have to go. But first, we have Sarah H. Baker, who's going to give some contribution to it. Let me tell you a little bit about Sarah. You see the picture right there, and actually we can see it the right way, just so you know.
And you, oh, super.
Yeah, Zoom mirrors it for you, so it took care of that.
Oh, I love it.
So great. Sarah H. Baker is originally from New Orleans. She worked all over the country as a civil engineer while writing romance as Sarah Storm, mystery as S.H. Baker, and more as Lydia Parks. She has more than 20 novels out, and now that she's retired, she's writing a speculative fiction series under her own name. Her contribution is Promise Me Tomorrow, Book 1 by Sarah H. Baker. 3 generations after the fall of civilization, and after decades of peace, New Village is viciously attacked. One of the bandits is left behind, injured. Cole can't turn her out, but can he keep the villagers safe? All will New Village's culture, based on love and trust, turn the bandit away from her life of violence. Sounds good to me. I'm getting one of these copies just for reading this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll buy one. I'll buy one.
Authors. I see Sarah said yes.
And then next, do you have your next slide?
Oh, I'm ready. Just tell me which one.
Here we go. The next book is going to be by Chris Bach. And Chris Bach writes novels of romance, mystery, and suspense. Her Forever Friends Sweet Romance series features the employees and customers at Cat Cafe. Watch as they fall in love with each other and shelter cats. Get a free Cat Cafe story when you sign up for Chris Bach's newsletter. And we can send the link out afterwards in the group. We'll post a link for you there so you can join that newsletter. I mean, I can read it, but does everyone have a pen? I'll read it. sendfox.com/LP/LG5NX3. I would be a great infomercial person, hello, welcome to me.
I feel like I'm on whatever, name that tune. I feel like it.
I also just put the link in the chat.
You are so much smarter than I could have copied and pasted, but I'm so used to using my voice that I forgot that was a possibility. Oh, hands work. Brava.
Thank you.
The contribution by Chris is Coffee and Crushes at the Cat Cafe. Kari or Carrie, doesn't matter. I don't want to say it wrong, but Kari, we'll say Kari. It'll be fun.
My voice recognition software needs me to pronounce it Kari in order to spell it the way that I want it to.
Vroom, vroom. Kari it is.
That tricky voice recognition.
You can choose your own adventure when the audiobook gets made. Kari doesn't have time for love when she's opening her new cat cafe. She's busy hiring employees, fighting with the health inspector, and welcoming 16 shelter cats. But when a sexy master baker walks in, she can't let him get away. So what does she do with the guy of her dreams? Set him up with her sister, of course.
Really.
I want that one too. That's great. I'm into it. I'll be drinking some sparkly in my hammock reading that one.
Well, let me tell you a little something about Chris Bach, who's also Chris E. Bach. She is the mentor and person that's responsible for me writing all these novels. I am not kidding. She was my mentor when I was taking a magazine fiction writing course. And if it hadn't been for her encouragement when a New York editor ripped me apart the first 10 pages I ever wrote of anything,
Us New Yorkers are real nice people.
Oh, yeah. She was really great. She just ripped me apart. I thought I was going to die, but Chris brought me back, and here I am. So thank you, Chris.
Yay. Mentorship is...
We have worked on a lot of Jodi's books together with me critiquing them, including Triumph. So I have already read it, and it is fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anything else you want to gush about with Chris?
We're ready to get on to our next author.
I just didn't want to interrupt the love because I'm all about love over here.
You can't interrupt love. It goes on forever.
Yes.
Big hugs here.
It's like, oh, I think I pulled something trying to hug people virtually. Okay.
Oh my God, her back goes out during the show.
It's like, I'm just going to do the rest laying on my bound. Okay.
I told you this is not going to be entirely serious because I'm not an entirely serious person.
I forgot my serious pipe out back, but
Are you on the stone key or what?
All right. Next, we have Gabby Stevens, also writing as Gabby Anderson. And it's the author of 15 historical and paranormal romances and a collection of short stories. Gabby taught English and is fluent in Hungarian and German. Ach, das ist gut. Ich habe in Österreich für 6 Jahre gelebt. I'm really excited about that. It was like 20 years ago, so that's all I remember. Okay. Knows Latin and is currently studying Japanese. Wow, that is incredible. She's an avid volleyball player and is working towards her next Taekwondo belt. Her contribution is The Stone Key by Gabby Stevens. When an ancient artifact sends Arden of Throckmorton into the life of prominent medievalist Hawkins Arlington, they must risk their homes, their reputations, and their lives to find it before the man who knows of its power wants it for himself. New York Times and USA. Oh, that's the next one, I think. I'm just going to keep reading.
No, just loves to read there.
I do. It's like I do it for a living.
She does.
Just kidding. We ready for the next one? Are you ready? Do you have Vanna's ready? Vanna's ready.
I do.
New York Times and USA best-selling author Dorinda Jones has several series out, most notably the Sunshine Vikram Mystery Series and the Charlie Davidson Paranormal Mystery Series from St. Martin's Press. She has a degree in sign language interpreting and lives in eastern New Mexico with her husband and 2 sons, the mighty Jones boys. I just changed the name. Her contribution is A Bad Day for Sunshine by Dorinda Jones. Del Sol, New Mexico is known for 3 things. Its fry and egg on the cement summers, strong cups of coffee, and now a nationwide manhunt. Del Sol's native Sunshine Vikram has returned to town as the elected sheriff, and she suspects her biggest crime wave to involve an elderly flasher named Doug. But a teenage girl is missing, a kidnapper is on the loose, and a swiped prized rooster is making the forecast anything but sunny.
That sounds so fun. I can't wait to read that. I
know, I'm like, well, I have to read books for a living, but I'll make time. These all sound really, really, really good.
Well, I really appreciate all my authors participating in my launch. So,
did you know that there's like one other author that's participating?
Let's see.
Did you forget one? This lady named Jodi. Like, have you met Jodi? She's, I don't know. She writes high concept stories. Do I need my pipe for this? With a literary pen technique. The adrenaline begins in her heart, flows to her fingertips, and out onto the keyboard.
Who wrote
this? She attracts readers who love books set in the South and Southwest, and who like a mixture of action, humor, and drama. She has a young adult audience. The Sickly trilogy. Silky trilogy? I'm just gonna say it
on the Navajo Res, yeah.
That appreciates her captivating style as well. She has a method of writing a novel in which all ages can swiftly be transported into another place and time. Her contribution is this little book called Triumph, a novel of the human spirit. Is that what we're here for?
That's what we're here for. So, well, Freddie's been on here nibbling on my back this whole time. So I said, calm down. We're going back to the swamp. Are y'all ready to go back to the swamp?
I never left the swamp.
You never left?
Really humid in here, so I'm just going to open the door.
Well, we're going to get serious again. We laugh a lot, but this part is serious. A young boy must be rescued from a voodoo cult. And Isabel, whom you haven't met yet, is the one to do it. She's risking everything, including losing her life. What faces her is one of the scariest, most arduous treks through the swamp at night that you can imagine. She never knows what's going to happen, and she may lose her life. So go ahead, Jennifer.
1905, Chapter 24, Suicide Bridge, page 113. The cricket chirps echoing off the watery reed grasses sound like bells tinkling in a distant hollow box. An owl hoots above the two lone figures making their way in and out of the shadowy trees along the water's edge. Isabel has imagined the escape path from the village to the road many times in her mind. The darkness of this cloudy night distorts her perspective. Her heart beats erratically as she pushes on. The steady drone of the cicadas gives her a smattering of the cicadas, gives her a smattering of comfort on a night when she is committing a village sin, for which, if caught, she will be severely punished, perhaps even poisoned. The raspy croaking calls of a night heron, an eerie refrain, makes her shiver.
Did you catch that part about the heron? Yeah, I can't imagine going through what Isabel goes through. So there's something I mentioned earlier about, I want to say one thing here. Because I had to be very descriptive about the voodoo ceremonies in this book, I recommend that it has an 18+ reading audience, which is different than any of my other books. Anything else I've written it's good for your 8-year-old, it's good for your 95-year-old, which my mom is almost 95. So, but this one, I would suggest it would be 18+. And we're going to put that on all the branding. So I mentioned earlier about this sad couple that the night that Jack is in the hotel, that his life has changed. This is another 2 people that their lives are forever shaped differently after that night in the hotel. And they lost their children to the fever. And Ernest is also a former Texas Ranger. And they're almost to die from hunger. They can't eat, they can't anything. But then this thing happens and they have incredible happiness, but it's not for long. And so let's read number 7.
Chapter 49, Broken Man, page 237. Trauma eventually gives way to bitter anger as Ernest stands to his feet, his gait unsteady. He makes his way through the wash as it deepens into a small canyon. He stops to wipe his forehead, then his caked lips on what is left of his torn sleeve. The sun is setting, yet the day's heat clings to him like a shroud. He kicks an eroded can sneering at him from the sallow sand, kicks it so hard his other leg turns to powder and drops him to the ground. First pain, then rage charges through his body like a dark stallion.
Poor Ernest. What will become of him, and what in the world has broken his heart that much? There's somebody I haven't talked about. His name is Willy, and he's almost my favorite character in this book. And I want you to discover Willy and go through his journey with him. But I will say his life reads like a novel. Fancy that. But you'll like Willy. And there's another person I'm not going to name or say a lot about, because what good would it do to reveal everything, right? But at one point, his inner demons send him on a hellish mission. And we're going to read a little bit about that.
Chapter 59, Avenging Angel, page 288. He retrieves the knife and continues to inch toward the screen door on the side of the enclosure. Only the white paint of the house and the faint light ahead keep him from becoming disoriented. Saturated tree limbs overhead offer no respite from the wetness pouring down on the house and its overgrown grounds. His purpose drives him on, his single purpose, and that is to kill the man who lives in this house.
Yep, there's murder in that man's heart. Now, because we've talked about so many different things, sometimes it helps to have somebody else sum up what are we reading here. Well, I have a Western historian and avid reader, Wayne Edkin. I hope he's joining us tonight. I'm not sure. He's traveling right now. But he kind of summed up this whole novel, and I'm going to read it myself. It says, this novel has it all: stolen children, brave young people, evil religions, despairing widows and orphans, brave and heroic men and women, coming of age in an age of becoming. I know in my heart this is the novel you've been waiting for. It was for me. Thank you, Mr. Edkin. I appreciate that very much, because he reads about 1,000 novels a year, and I really appreciate his assessment this time. I feel like people read for entertainment, escape, and education. And I truly, when I write a novel, I try to put all three elements in there. And this time, I think I did more than any other time. And I hope that you suspect you may find those three E's in Triumph. Wait a minute, I'm plugging in Triumph, a novel of the human spirit. I'm trying out for Vanna's job, I think. So I put to you the following questions to contemplate so that you will want to run out and get this book immediately. What does World War I have to do with any of the characters? A lot. And what happens when fissures in Mercy and Annie's watertight friendship appear as they grow up? Is it pressure from the bigotry that they're experiencing, or is it something else? When tragedy befalls an important character's wife after a bitter argument, what happens next? And what is Mercy's grandpa's incredible secret? How on earth will all these storylines converge? When I was a kid, we had to do book reports, and we had to leave it with questions like that, and we'd say, you have to read the book. So I'm going to say, you'll find out those answers. What do I want people to get out of this book? I want them to get more than entertainment. I want them to have an educational value from it. And I think that the feelings that, why did I write it? These are questions I'm answering that I'm seeing on the sides, but I wrote it because it's me, because I have always felt these ways. And I believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So a story or a novel, how many words is it worth? A lot. So we have issues in our society, and they can all be tempered with one thing: acceptance and respect. So I guess that I've always had this in my heart, and I wanted to get that from me to you. That's why I wrote it. So Cyrus Webb, who is an extraordinary media personality, he summed that part up. By the way, this book has been sensitivity read by white and black people so that we are safe. We didn't want any of us be, burned at the stake for anything. That has been sensitivity read twice, 3 times. Cyrus Webb is an extraordinary media personality. He has the Conversations Live magazine. He interviews people at the Oscars and the Emmys and all that. He said about this book, he's also a top Amazon reviewer. He said, Triumph is a powerful testimony that we can outgrow the pettiness that defines us by color and see a human spirit behind the shade of skin. And can't we? I mean, we can. So I guess that's what I want people to see in this novel, that everybody has different qualities. We're all so unique, and we're so incredible within ourselves. And wouldn't we be totally boring if everyone was the same, and the same color and the same creed and the same opinions? So we need to get the message out somehow. I didn't really know I was writing such a message, but that's the way all the reviewers are taking it. So I guess I was. Where am I here? Jennifer. I'm going to have her read. We're going to have one more quote, and that someone has, a reviewer, an early reviewer, who gave me a 5 out of 5. said. I think it kind of sums it up also. And then we're going to have our drawing. Okay, Jennifer, I think this is the last reading.
All right, I'll make it count.
Yeah, none of the others have counted, I guess.
Boring, all right, no. This novel left me feeling both shocked and delighted during the several events that unfolded. From the shocking and gruesome details of voodoo magic and ritualistic sacrifices to the tender and lovingly empathetic ways of enduring relationships, this read possesses something for everyone. It describes the human condition immaculately in all its forms and leaves you enjoying a renewed sense of hope for a brighter and more understanding future.
Well, that's not to blow any smoke at me, but I just hope it maybe puts you over the edge that you go, hey, I think I want to read this because it has something different. So, Jennifer, you've been an awesome narrator. Don't go away, but you made this evening really special. So here's a hand.
Pleasure to be here. I'll silent clap for me.
And,
Thank you, audience in your living room.
I know. No, we're up here. See, my bedroom and office are all one big, huge thing. So they're all gathered around in my bedroom here. And
you know, I'm from New York City. Like,
crazy?
my huge office is like this 3x3 space. Like, yes, let me get that for my bookshelf. Like,
oh, wow. My office is huge. You can contact Jennifer Blom. She made sure I understood that it rhymed with mom. Blom, mom.
What's mom?
Or at Jen Blom, that's JenBlom.com, because she is available, I think, unless you're too busy right now. So now we're going to do our drawing. I've never done a drawing, so we're just going to do it and see how this works out. So
you've never done a drawing?
Well, I mean, in kindergarten.
Have someone else shake it for you. I don't know.
We got some good participation here. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
That was your drum roll.
For the beautiful swampy bird and a personal note from me.
Is that a heron?
Amanda. Amanda Thrasher. Not that you don't have. You want me to do it?
For a different book. She's like,
what?
Are you going to talk?
You honestly, I would feel terrible taking that because I'm just here, just chilling out.
My publisher. So we're
I got rained on earlier. That's why I'm all frizzy right now.
You look cute. You look cute. Okay, you want me to talk in?
I'm so frizzy right now. Yeah, give that to one of your fans.
Okay.
Not that I'm not a fan because I'm a total fan, but
okay,
please give that to one of your readers.
Well, that's pretty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Still send her a signed copy of the book, you know, that would be nice.
Alyssa Rogie? Huh?
Alyssa Rogie.
Alyssa Rogie.
She's my fan and now your fan.
Oh, I'm so excited. We'll have her contact me on Facebook or email or, you know, whatever. Okay, wow. Okay, she won the book and our swamp birdie and a personalized note from me.
That's amazing.
Woo! That's good. All righty. That's that one. Now, who's going to get our awesome tablet that I had a hard time separating myself from it? And it's in twilight blue, which is one of my favorite colors. And I thought that was male or female or anything.
Also works like for the swamp theme.
Yeah.
Does it like play swamp music when you turn it on? It's like, that's not a swamp theme.
I wish it would. Okay. And our 5 authors, including myself, they're generous ebooks. All right, now. Ooh, that was a piece of. What was that? You put some just regular. She put some blotted papers in here. Oh, okay. Get me one that's okay. Reach in there and get. You know, teenagers, they got to do something. Elizabeth.
Elizabeth is in here. Hello, Elizabeth.
Is she here?
She's listening.
She's listening. Okay, Elizabeth is our winner for the Fire Tablet and the ebook. Woo!
Elizabeth, put your contact deets up in there, or say hi so we know you hear us.
Yeah, I couldn't hear. I just learned how to do Zoom, so I'm really
Elizabeth says, wow. So Elizabeth is here, present, and excited.
wow. Well, she's
Wow,
won a really
exclamation point.
great prize.
I know, I'm excited for her. Like,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you want to be friends? I'm just going to borrow your tablet for a second.
Oh man, that is
Maybe drive away with it.
to win that myself. So, you know how much time did I take of your lives? I took 45 minutes of your lives. And my marketing team, I love them. Robert and Anya Caruso of Engage Inc. But they kind of thought I was nuts because I was just supposed to sit here and say, and this is my novel, and then
This is my novel, read it, it'll be good.
And I said, no, that's not Jody. So this is how I do it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to thank all my friends and family here and our 4 amazing authors, Dorinda, Sarah, Gabby, and Chris. And of course, again, Robert and Anya, our narrator, Jazz, who disappeared on me, and my sweet hubby for putting up with my author madness, and of course, Freddie. And I'm going to read a little toast, and I'm going to read it because I always mess it up or I get cracked up crying or something.
You didn't tell me to bring alcohol. I have water to
I
toast.
know. Can you believe this bubbly? Well, we have a party going on. So, all right. This is to you guys. This is to leaving footprints that matter, to finding ways to brighten the days of those in darkness or pain, and there are so many, and to our always defaulting to the better part of ourselves. May we always remember that we need one another. And now I'm going to give you a huge reason to laugh at me because I'm going to say something in French, and it's been a long time. So literally, excuse my French, laissez les bons temps rouler, which means let the good times roll because you never know where you're going to find happiness. Woo! What's going on here? Woo! So thank you for being here. Love you all.
Balloons.
Bye, Triumph. My Lord. Whoa. Thank you.
Get in your room. Thank you.